It's time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gary. Not Jerry. Hey, everyone. Welcome to TGIF. It's great having everybody here, especially after this morning's morning coffee with Keith. Look, let's just jump right in. Let us bring on, first and foremost, John.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Viking.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Deleted scenes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And presenting the main man himself,
Lobo?
the man with the plan, the man from up north, Steven.
Not even one hello. I'll screw all of you.
Oh,
Welcome to TGIF.
It's going to be like that, huh?
Dramatic pauses
hey.
and everything.
Hey, you're the Steven on the bottom. Don't talk. We're gonna do this. The two Stevens of the U.S. and Canada. I'm already on top. So listen.
And around everything. And also our good buddy, Christopher.
Hello.
Hi.
And the Miracle Man himself, Martin.
Hey. He was panicking so much.
How's everybody
I
doing?
wasn't. No, I wasn't.
He was.
You may notice that we're short someone today, and that's because Gary's not feeling well, so we'll carry on without him.
He finally saw himself naked, and he did the same thing he did to me.
Okay.
Oh my God. Too much information. And
Wow.
with that, we have member chat. Baron
Aaron.
Ormantagi, member for 8 months. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. I'm not the only one that's appeared naked on this show.
TMI.
If you want to get in the back room, gotta show
geez.
skin.
Whoa.
I came up with my Halloween costume. You know, I showed up hammered.
As an avatar user, your exposition has made me feel naked.
Oh, man. Anyway, it's going to be that kind of show, okay?
Well, all right.
I will be doing the second
Oh
half.
my.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Balance.
Now
Out of
presenting
control
Christopher Moonlight. Please make sure your dollar bills are ready. We only take
Oh
Monopoly
my
here.
way.
I do anything for money.
Hello, Penny, in the chat. Baron Ormatog, we were just talking about you. Deleted
And who is
scenes.
naked?
Oh, man.
Well, he says so.
Oh, jeez. Okay. War Monkey, one of my favorite monkeys. And oh, jeez, just
I like how you sound tired already, Keith, and we've only been
yeah, it's just
The mental image
Wow.
of many naked grown men has confused me. But I felt perfectly safely in my Nexus.
Anyway, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and to our brothers and sisters up north, I hope you loved watching us have a good Thanksgiving.
Well, to be fair, they had theirs in October, so
They did, and at that time, I even wished them a happy Thanksgiving. So just I hope everybody had a good time during their Thanksgiving. So let's just jump right in. Geekosity. First and foremost, for those that haven't heard yet, Mikey Sutton was our guest for today's show. He will be unable to join us today. Some things have come up with him, and so he's had to bow out. But we will carry on by going straight to his site, geekosity.com. And we're just going to talk about a few of the stories they already have up. I think we were talking about this before this morning. their big story that comes up is the whole Gal Gadot could play the Borg Queen in Star Trek 4.
Will that be with or without Goldar armor?
I don't know. This story is not
Now
exactly
feel
what
exhausted.
This story is definitely something that I did not expect to see, and again, it's for those of us that have made their way to geekositymag.com. I have no words. I mean, if this is actually true and not more J.J. Abrams BS, I really am not excited by this news at all. I like Gal Gadot, but I don't think there's anything really J.J. Abrams could do for her. You know, I don't think there's
ruin her career, Keith. He can always do that.
Well,
He can ruin
yeah.
her career.
You're right about that.
I haven't Daisley really here yet. Let's just come on now. Let's just get it over with. Lie on the table. I got a Spanish Inquisition knife for your career somewhere.
Jeez.
What?
Well, look, the story itself says a new rumor claims that Gal Gadot is in talks for a new Star Trek movie, possibly as the Borg Queen. This is welcome news because just a few months ago, J.J. Abrams' fourth Star Trek movie lost its release date. After that, Max Shankman jumped off the project in favor of the Fantastic Four. Giant Freaking Robot writes that Gal Gadot is currently holding meetings for a Star Trek project. While their source did not confirm whether it's Abrams' sequel, it's the only film project that is likely, unless Paramount has removed the fourth movie in favor of another that they haven't made public yet. The actress is...
I got a question for this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off. But like this was weird. Does even the Borg fall into their universe timeline at all?
Aha! That's a very good question.
They're dealing. Okay, it's the Abrams universe is pretty much Kirk and Spock reiterations, right?
Yes.
Okay, Borg wasn't really introduced. If we're going to look at it with Picard and the TNG crew, unless you're introducing a whole new crew. I'm saying this with a big hypothesis here, because we had the Enterprise and we had Archer, and that I don't care. That I don't really care. I don't care. It's the caveman and the ice syndrome episode. Don't care. I just don't care. But that doesn't make sense. That means they're jumping not only generations, they're jumping timeline stories just to fill a void when I don't think Borg have been played out in films. We don't need it again.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
Hey, hello, Dark Knight.
The Borg
Welcome.
was a good idea,
Danny.
and it actually started to
10
go
years ago.
south
Sorry.
when, honestly, when they started doing stupid crap like Borg Queens. Like that defeats the whole idea of the Borg just being this homogenized collective, where when everyone gets a say, no one has any free will anymore, and it just becomes this droning, mindless thing that just consumes everything. And I gotta say, by the way, that the project isn't very promising when people are jumping off of it to go direct the Fantastic Four.
Well, at least the Fantastic floor, because that's pretty much where all the titles have ended on the floor because they're bad. But it brings the precedent here is that the Borg has been played to death, and that becomes to thank you of Voyager. Yes, we got 7-9 and a lot of episodes in a skin tight outfit. Thank you, Lord Almighty. I will definitely nod to that. And then we see Jerry Ryan now in Picard, and oh God, what happened? Go back to the Borg. Besides that, we don't need any more Borg stories. That's what they're saying. This is the same thing we've been complaining about for 5 to 10 years now. They're reiterating, reissuing, and redoing the same crap we've already seen timeline and stories for. You have no uniqueness to it because you are limiting yourself based off the limitations of these characters. Are you telling me that you can't create a new Star Trek villain and go down a road that hasn't been done? Or is that because creativity is dried up like a gas station in California that you don't know what else to do? And don't make it.
They have been saying it since they really.
You want a villain? You want a villain? Screw the Borg Queen. Get Gavin Newsom and him be the Borg King and see how that goes. Do that. I just only go where I have not read before. Your sidewalk.
And this The big problem is too, you're getting like all the different franchises are trying to imitate each other, but they're imitating their weakest parts. Like the last Aliens movie was like Alien Covenant was essentially a Star Trek episode in the worst way possible. They're just reiterating all this stuff. For me, I would love to see, if we're going to ape each other, I would love to see Star Trek kind of go into territory where they're actually exploring things that are so alien, like Star Trek the motion picture. There's this great mystery to explore, and the execution may have been a bit of a slow burn. I still enjoyed it, but what about that? Get Star Trek villains in there, but we're endlessly lingering on the Klingons and the Borg and the androgenins or whatever they're called. I don't know. It's
Erogens.
Yeah, it's
Andorians.
Andorians. There you go. You
Vulcans,
see, for me, as someone who is more of a casual Star Trek fan, I never dived into the lore or anything like that. I and by the way, for the women in the chat,
oh my God.
It's like
that's harder.
I want the story. I want the characters. It's my favorite thing about Star Trek. I even really enjoyed Star Trek V because I just loved seeing Nimoy and DeForest Kelley and Shatner riff off of each other, and have a good time. There's just none of that anymore. I don't care about any of the characters. It's like I like the cast of the Abrams ones, and I enjoyed especially the first movie. I know that's not a popular opinion, but again, kind of as a normie, I thought it was entertaining. But yeah, it's gone so off the rails. I just, same with Star Wars, same with everything. It's just like new movie announced. I don't care. And it's not because I want to be edgy and not care. It's just I really feel nothing. I've got other things to worry about in my life right now.
You can only trust the boy who cried wolf so many times. I mean, before they announce the show, why not, I don't know, have a script finished first?
Oh, you're asking a lot there.
There's also another thing that comes to all of this. It's I usually call it the Disney virus, or however the Disney infection. Can also apply this to Paramount and other media and Hollywood in general. You no longer see the property; you only see the names attached, whether it be Paramount, whether it be Disney. Like you're not thinking Disney, you're not thinking, oh, good Marvel film. No, you're thinking Disney, Marvel, and then all the terms and all the stuff in their history has gone on. The problem is they keep doing these titles, but their history is already infecting them with bad outlooks because you have burned not only your audience, you have burned your creativity, you have burned your scripts, you have burned your actors and turned them into woke, nonsensical, screaming Twitterites, and then it just dies out like a flame in a cold wind, and then no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah, and why like Dorknick says too. Yeah. It's we know for a fact they're not doing it with there's not creators there going like, oh, it's going to be so cool, we're going to do this thing. It's just like, we need to announce something, we better announce it because the rights are about to run out. It's like, right. And then it doesn't happen, so we get burned in that way too. It's just
no, exactly. Yeah, it's anyway. Keith, I did the first time I've seen it since I finished. I took your advice and I watched The Sandman. And I actually enjoyed it, except that 11th episode, they should have either it should have been the first episode, or they should have just sprinkled it in the middle, or it should have been totally off. Like it was really anticlimactic because that 10th episode was really, really good. It ended like a season finale should end.
That's because the 11th episode was like an additional thing.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, it had the cats, and as a cat owner, a cat lover, that was traumatic. I mean, my God, that guy, what he did to the kittens, that was terrible. And then, and then the other episode that was a part of that episode. I don't know. I could have been happier just not seeing that one at all. Really.
Okay.
It really.
Let me ask you this, Dork Knight. Now that episode. I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it, and I've read the comics. I was a big fan of the comics. That episode was a story, I think, illustrated by Kelly Jones, and it was a really good comic book story.
Are you talking about the cat one?
When I hear that it was made as a TV episode, I think to myself, just some things, the medium is just the best place to tell that story. So in comics, it's not so traumatic and upsetting because the way that it's presented. And I think, I just don't want to see that actually played out.
You're talking about the cat one,
Yeah.
the
Dream of a
1,000 Cats. I think
yeah.
it was called. Yeah. Well, man, it was animated, so if that helps, and it was well done, and I loved all the cats. They were adorable, and I especially loved the concept of the cats ruling the earth and being gigantic, and all the people serving them, all naked and stuff. It was kind of interesting concept, but seeing that douchebag, murder kittens just really bothered me a lot.
Well, in the comic, you don't really see it. It's just kind of one panel of a bag being tossed into a river, and that's it.
There's in this one he takes some, stuffs him in the bag, drives off. Then they show him put a brick in the bag, and he just throws it into the lake, and it's just, oh man.
Yeah, I don't know why you want to hurt your audience that way.
Yeah,
I deliberately avoid stuff that. I mean, my wife actually, if there's anything about an animal dying in a movie, there's literally a website, I think it's called Does the Dog Die? She'll check it because she won't watch stuff if something bad happens to an animal. She got tricked into watching Babe, and it devastated her.
John Wick.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what about John Wick?
Oh no, we haven't seen John Wick.
Well, at least you don't see the dog die. You see it dead, but not in the process of being killed.
I can handle things like in The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, the way that's presented in that kind of like horror special effects way. But just in general, like there are movies that they're good movies, but I won't watch them because I don't want to be upset. Or movies. I'll tell you a movie that really bothers me and I cannot watch is Meet the Parents, because or another one, Christmas Vacation was on yesterday, and I said to my wife, Christmas Vacation is actually more depressing and distressing than it is funny for me.
I love that movie. I've watched it every year.
I never laugh at it, and if you love it, that's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad movie or anything like that. It's just again going back to like Meet the Parents. It's just like. I can't find any enjoyment or entertainment of watching these people be humiliated and suffer and go through all this anxiety. It's just, it's more, I don't know. It's just a taste in movies. I feel like I don't want the audience, I don't want to be distressed. I want to relax and unwind in front of a movie. No, maybe that's just me. My sense of fairness kind of jumped in.
You make horror movies.
I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I get what he's saying. I really do get what he's saying because I can watch horror movies, but I can't watch a knee surgery. You know what I mean, type of thing.
Yeah.
It's just, So, but I did want to say, Keith, that I was, because I haven't read the comics, the Sandman. Is it like one comic, like a graphic novel, or was it a run?
It was a run over a number of years.
Okay. And was it as dark and because my girl and I were watching it, and dude, it was like that pedophile character. That was some creepy dark shit, man. Was the show darker than the comic, or was the comic actually dark? Because it was kind of uncomfortable to watch some of this stuff. In a few of the episodes, because they kill a 16-year-old, like that chick just nonchalantly, the waiter's not coming back, and has the kid's eyes, and the creepy fat pedophile who tries to rape the little boy at the end or whatever. Just is it that dark in the comic, or
it is a dark comic?
Yeah,
it was a run over a number of years, and by the time I think that they had finished, I mean, what the entire series took, I think 5 or 6 years to come out.
Okay,
give or take. And the thing about that series is that it just seemed like for every issue that came out, it was just all about pushing the boundaries of where the medium was. In terms of not only visually but story-wise.
Yeah.
And again, I know some people that weren't really big fans of it.
No, I like the show a lot. It kind of got close to. It never actually crossed like what I would consider my line because it didn't actually show anything. Just things were inferred, or but it was like really close. But I tell you what, you were right. Desire looked fire in that show. Oh my God. I stand by my statement. Most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. I stand by it. I mean, wow.
The show is again, it really does help to have the person who created everything as part of your creative crew in presenting the program. It does make a difference. And I think for those that really are fans of this stuff, it really is just more of a reminder of what you enjoyed about it the first time around.
Yeah.
I hope for season 2 that they continue to keep up the great work.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for season 2, man. Like I was like, curse you for getting me hooked. We couldn't stop watching it. We binged that whole thing.
You did?
Yeah, well until like the last episode because it was so disconnected. We took a break. But yeah, we binged 1 through 10.
Well, I went ahead and put something in the private chat for you, Dork. Okay. And I think that'll help in the future.
Okay.
But
this is something that interests me. Sorry to interrupt. I got to go in a minute, but it's just something I want to say is this is why stuff gets adapted. Like there are hardcore fans of the Sandman comic book or hardcore fans of anything that's a novel or a graphic novel and I think usually the reason that people want to see them made into movies is not because they personally want to see it realized on the screen. It's because they're such a fan of that thing and it's so hard to get people to read a book you love or a comic you love. But if you get the feeling if you see it on the screen and it's done right, then it'll make people want to check out the thing that you love. And that's why we're often so disappointed when what we love is misrepresented on the screen. So I'm glad to hear that Keith, you're satisfied with it, and Dork Knight that you love it. But I gotta go. I've got more stuff to do. But I just wanted to mention I will be probably at 8:00. I will be part of the live stream with A Drink with Crazy, the Iron Age guy. So go check out his channel. But happy belated Thanksgiving to all of you, and
happy Thanksgiving.
And much love. You guys have a great rest of your show.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Bye, Chris. Have a nice day.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I had a quick serious question. Do you think Bob Chapek left just to let Iger burn down with the ship? I just want to throw that random question out there because I like disrupting stuff.
We were talking about it this morning, and I think what happened was, considering the way that Bob Chapek left and how everything went down, I personally believe that shareholders and other money people saw something coming down the pike that they were not very happy with, and that they needed to get rid of Chapek because they needed Iger there for 2 reasons. One, because they thought he could do something, and 2, he was the one that actually put them in the position that they are in right now.
Yeah, so it's 2 birds, 1 stone, a way out, and to show that Iger's going down with his legacy that he built, if it does go down. Yeah,
well, they are in a financially they are in a very weakened position. Disney, as of right now, owes money for Hulu. The remainder of what they owe NBC Universal that has to be paid by 2023.
They don't have much time though.
Now, Iger was the one who, in proposing Disney Plus to the board and shareholders, put it. Now, he didn't have to do this. He did this on his own. He had promised everyone that he was going to have Disney Plus solvent and in the black by 2024.
Is somebody eating or something? What is that noise?
I don't know. What is that noise?
Okay, who's drinking beer on the show, and why are you not sharing it with us?
Not me.
Nobody's drinking. I can tell you that for sure.
Sure? You sure nobody's drinking?
No.
I'm not.
I haven't touched a drink in 3 weeks.
Oh, hey, man. Is that like? Are you
I'm
trying
drinking this.
Are you trying to
You're
quit
in?
drinking? Fats?
No, I can quit. I actually no, I'm not like I don't have a reliance on it, but I just
Oh, okay.
haven't touched a drink.
Well, usually when people are like, "Oh, I haven't had a drink in 3 weeks," that's like they're like, kind of like when I was, going through my thing,
So, yeah, I appreciate the care. No, I
Okay.
just don't really rely on it.
But basically, Iger had originally put it out there to the shareholders and investors that Disney Plus would be solvent by 2023. I mean 2024. I'm sorry, by 2024. So not only do they owe money to NBC Universal next year, but the year after that, Disney Plus has to be in the black. And the chances of that happening are not good.
Well, I don't know. They got my money again because as a D23 member, I got 3 years for the price of one, and I just had to renew it, and no special for D23 members this time around. I had to pay full price. I was pissed.
Yeah, that's going to be happening a lot. Especially if you like to go to the parks. A
Well,
lot
yeah.
of stuff's about to go up in price because they
Yeah.
need the money.
Yeah.
Earlier today, sorry guys, but earlier today, even Clownfish TV talked about how Disney might have been caught cooking up the numbers for their Disney Plus subscription numbers, which means that perhaps they might even need a little bit more than what they had initially thought about.
I wish there was
And
more
it all
transparency with these streaming services. I think they all do it. HBO Max.
There should definitely be
Disney.
there should definitely be.
Well-
But the thing here with Disney is that every time that they drop something on Disney Plus, they do that sort of thing. They cook up the numbers and then they tell you that they are all doing all right, when in reality it is not really that the case,
Like, I want to believe The Rock when he says on Instagram the other day that, Black Adam smashed all these, records on, I think it's HBO Max or whatever, but I don't know who to believe when it comes to the streaming because it's, like nobody can see those numbers really, but them,
Yeah,
that is true. But the whole Bob thing in general, I think there's multiple aspects, and we were talking about this about a couple of weeks ago. Keith, you were there. It was on a TGIF. We compare what Iger is doing, what Chapek was doing before the leave and how Zaslav was doing his stuff. The problem is Zaslav got in at an earlier time where the tentacles weren't seeped deep in. And I think Chapek has done as much as he could. And it was either keep pushing or get out. And I think that door arrived and he took it because he got in there too late.
No. It's a different sort of makeup financially. Yeah, here's the thing. David Zaslav actually runs all of Warner Brother Media. He owns it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what anybody tells him to do. He's the one telling everyone else what to do. Whereas Chapek works for the board. Everything he's done, he had to get permission from the board to do what he's done. That's what makes all of this kind of really suspicious in so much as that you sign the guy to a brand new 3-year contract, and then days later you get rid of him basically overnight. That's the reason why I think it does have something to do with money, but I think it has more to do with the fact that they are worried and that somebody broke down the numbers to figure out, first of all, how much money they have and whether or not they can pay all their bills back, which is really what Chapek was trying to do. That's the reason why he was talking about cuts and layoffs, because that's exactly what Zaslav did when he came in. Zaslav said from the very beginning that they needed to come up with $3 billion. That was not some random number. That's how much they needed in order to basically break even, so that you're not running the company in the red. Disney has been ignoring that for years. They've been kicking the can down the road. And Chapek finally said, look, now that I'm actually able to do something, I think this is what needs to happen in order for us to be financially secure. Now, that's not going to stop us from overcharging in the parks because we need that money. But we're going to have to make a change in how we do other things. Like, for instance, as far as film and TV production, entertainment. The reality is that we have a bunch of people working in jobs where they have shown us basically nothing. They're running our films into the ground. And the clearest evidence of that has been merchandising. Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, all were these big shining things that Bob Iger purchased, and all have been run into the ground. They are not what they once were. So I think they wanted Iger back to basically right the ship, because
My understanding was wrong.
they are in an actionable look. At this point, they are so weak. We were speculating this morning that there could be the possibility of a hostile takeover coming for Disney.
Apple. I was kidding.
Nah, well, we weren't talking about it. Apple is a good guess, but there's somebody else who has
Not
been,
Google. I am not having Google run Disney. Hell no, I'm out. No.
There's been someone else that's been wanting a foothold.
Oh, I wish to buy Google.
Yeah, somebody that basically has been wanting a foothold in Hollywood for decades, and this may actually be their opportunity to get it. John, who did we think it was?
Could it be China?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, man.
Bam, bam, bam.
You know what? I just think that for the amount of money and for the problems that they're having with the Disney parks in China, at this point, that park may not be something that Disney will have any further rights and access to in the near future if things keep going the way that they are. And China will take all of that. It's not that they're going to tear the park down and give back all the stuff. They're going to probably change it and continue to run the park. They just won't give Disney any money. But it would be fitting for them to basically buy out Disney. Now, they could afford to buy anyone else out, but Disney's special because Disney is a crown jewel in entertainment. And when you consider all the properties it owns and all the different businesses that are connected, buying Disney would be a major coup for the Chinese. It would instantly catapult them to being the dominant owners in entertainment instantly. So, yeah, you can be politically motivated. You can have all kinds of ideas, but in the end, when it comes down to the money, I think the money people basically got a hold of the board and said, "Look, guys, don't give a care, but we're running the company into the ground, and we are leaving ourselves open to a hostile takeover." So that again, I said, we were talking about this morning, and I really do believe that there's a better chance of that happening. Not to say that Apple couldn't, but it's a hostile takeover no matter who does it. And that just means that certain people, need to be, in my opinion, made aware that things are not where they should be. If that means getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy in order to get money flowing through again, to get people to pay for Star Wars, she got to go. If that means getting rid of a bunch of people at Pixar and combining Pixar with Disney Animation, that's got to happen. If that means just basically, firing 1/4 of the people that work there, you're gone. And ironically, again, this is what Chapek tried to do. This is what he wanted to do. Because it's the only way forward. Things are so bad. This is the only way forward. Unless you want to borrow more money and be in even more debt to the bankers and others. So
they should really just timeshare Galaxy Star Cruiser. That's the only option. They need to timesharing it so people can go in, have their Star Wars fantasies for a couple of days, then get the hell out.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Disney seems to be on this kick where anybody that walks into the parks, they want to charge you, more money than you'll ever see in your lifetime just to spend a couple days.
Oh,
there.
that's cool. I have a coupon. It's a picture of my middle finger because I'm never going to go there.
I mean, it's so expensive right now. I probably couldn't even take my grandkids. You'd be better off going to Universal. You'd get more out of the entire experience.
See, that's what's funny because, like, you guys were talking about Sandman. I've been watching the new season of Titans, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it. Even if it's background sound, I'll still poke my head up once in a while and get a feel. They're kind of reusing the same storyline from season 1, but it's adapting the other seasons within it. That's kind of making it kind of different,
Well, it's amazing what people are able to accomplish as far as entertainment when you threaten their jobs.
Oh yeah.
You
want this paycheck, right? You gotta start doing your job. I don't want to come to work. We ain't getting the paycheck. Same thing Elon said.
To that point, just like Elon, sorry to chime in. I wanted to say this earlier, but I was away from the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Is they need to do what you were saying, Keith is right. What did Elon Musk do when he bought Twitter? First thing he did, he trimmed a shit ton of fat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's what
David Zaslav did the same thing.
Yeah, Zaslav. I'd say he took it even further than Musk did. So,
you know what? Hold on, we got some questions here. So first of all, I want to apologize for not seeing a lot of these questions earlier. Let's go all the way back up to. Oh man, let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's just go with. Okay. Retro Nerd Girl. Iger is only back to clean up his own mess, in my opinion. They lost a lot of money in streaming. You're right. They did lose a lot of money in streaming. Streaming does not really give them the kind of money necessary to be able to cover when you have bad films, like The Eternals.
But that was a film.
And also, sorry, just wanted to point out something that by wanting to position their streaming services, also they have cheapened up their products because now they are just creating content as opposed to in the past when they really created something of quality, and you can tell by the level of CGI quality that they are using in some of their shows, even costumes, music. I mean, the whole thing has gone just the cheap way, right?
Well, I don't know. Well, did you watch Andor? Good Lord, that had to cost some money. That looked beautiful,
Well, but I think what it is that Marvel has been burning so many bridges with visual effects companies that it's gotten to the point where now I don't think there is one visual effects company on this planet that wants to do anything with Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
How funny is that? Used to be everybody wanted to work for Marvel. Now it's like, as far as those kind of guys go, special effects, now it's like, nah, I'm good.
Let's see. Memes of destruction, creative accounting, imagine my shock. Retro Nerd Girl again. Disney is pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars on shows that aren't doing big viewing numbers. That's the reason why David Zaslav decided to basically cancel the CW, or at least their shows on the CW, because his whole thing is, if you're not competing to be the tops as far as TV ratings and viewing are concerned, what are we paying for? That was a good question. I mean, what really are you paying for? Because you got a lot of people going, well, I like that show. Well, if you like the show should be doing better. You and your friends might like it, but you and your friends aren't getting other people to watch it. So,
I'll quickly answer Zach's. Season 3 was awful, probably. Like I said, it's on in the background, but it has moments where my head will go up because it perks my ear. Other than that, background season.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of Titans. I don't know why.
When I want something on that's new, because like we're playing with the theaters, right? There's nothing to watch in theaters. There's literally nothing to watch at all. That's why so many people are on YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else, because
Yeah.
The only way to get instant gratification or like some type of entertainment that fits your niche is going through these forums that have the categories available.
Perfect example of how there's nothing out. So my roommate offered to take us out to the movies Wednesday night because he got some free passes, and we couldn't think of anything we wanted to watch that we hadn't already seen that was worth our time. So you know what I watched instead, and I highly recommend it? Weird, the Al Yankovic story on the Roku channel.
That's heard some
It
good
was
stuff.
so fucking good. And pro tip, if you watch it on your computer and you have an ad blocker, you don't even see the commercials. Watch it on my TV, they have commercials. It's weird.
See, that's weird. You've used something new. I've heard stories that it's a good thing. Me, I went back to like an older anime. I went back to Sword Art Online and started that this morning for my background stuff when I'm doing my thumbnails. And yeah, that's weird. Usually you're always looking towards a new show. You're always looking towards some type of property, but all the properties that are the most famous have burned themselves out.
That's right.
Mandalorian and everything else. Like I'm terrified with X-Men 92 or continuation 92.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to get that revamp because of this whole thing going on? Because now they have so much more content with how Twitter went that they can revamp those episodes and do more nut job in the style.
Well, the other thing is that when you create something and then you know, when Disney creates something in one department and then it eventually makes its way over to Disney Plus, what you're doing basically is creating and spending money in one department and having another department under Disney pay for all that. So there's no money coming from the outside. This is what Zaslav was saying, why streaming was so dumb. It doesn't make you any money. You know, you need to go out and get that money, which is the reason why Marcus, let's see, he was saying, Marcus A., you're mistaken. The Rock said #1 on VOD, rent or buy. Black Adam movie is not on HBO Max.
Okay, whatever it was he said. I'm sorry, I couldn't. I know he said it was #1. So is that measurable then? What he's saying?
It probably is if it's not exclusive. But what Zaslav was saying was, why are you turning down people who are willing to pay you? If Amazon and Netflix are willing to give you money, take the money. You know, you could always have your movie on your streaming service later. Take the money. So that's Zaslav.
Has anybody else here on the panel seen the Weird Al movie yet?
No. Not yet.
Man, hey, Joe, you snuck in.
Look, I am so sure that's a very good thing. I just haven't really had the time lately.
So it wasn't even on my radar. I was watching Bill Maher's podcast. I forget what it's called, but it's funny because it's just him getting stoned and drinking with a guest, and he had Weird Al on, and they were talking about his movie, and Bill Maher hadn't seen it yet, so Weird Al was kind of just giving him like the elevator pitch and explaining the whole Roku thing to him. And it was fascinating because he said because Bill was like, well, why didn't you release it in the theater? And he was like, because I didn't want it to flop, and because Roku gave me all the money up front. So he's like, I don't care if it flops or not, but he's like, but I'm thankful critics and audiences seem to enjoy it. So
hey, if they give you the money, take the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Joe. Did you know that there was a homeless guy in your room this morning?
Yeah, I had to kick him out about 12:30. It was ridiculous, man. I don't know what the hell he was doing. He had all my gear on and shit. Ridiculous.
Retro Nerd Girl said Disenchanted was not a fantastic film, but there was no reason for it to not be released in theaters instead of just dropped in streaming. They lost a lot of money. You're right. They did lose a lot of money.
Was it any good? Has anybody seen the reviews on it or anything?
No, it was not really.
The reviews have been god awful.
Really?
Let's see. Here we go. Marcus A says Keith, Deadline or the Hollywood Reporter reported Avatar will be getting a Chinese release. Is this really true? Yes, it looks like it is true. Because they want the money, and because hey, you don't turn down an opportunity to have your movie come out in China.
Wait. There's a serious thing we gotta laugh. There's one serious thing we gotta laugh at right here. Does anyone else feel sorry for the guy that has to do the subtitles?
Oh
no!
Wow!
I sure still don't. I'm sorry, I don't. No, that's funny. I'm sorry.
Let's see.
And plus, Avatar has to break even has to make 2 billion according to reports and speculation. So, of course, they wanted to open in China and every single territory possible.
Yeah. Thank you, Krampus Jeebus. I'll go to the parks and buy a bunch of exclusives and sell them online for more to cover the admission. That's very funny, but probably very true. Let's see. Zax wants to know, how is it possible Titans is good now? Season 3 was god awful.
Yeah, that's what I was addressing earlier.
Let's see. Shanatsky says, when they screw you and the industry screws VFX people all the time, so they've been doing worse. That's true. They've been screwing VFX and the VFX industry for a long time. Let's see. Zax wants to know, did anyone hear Cameron's, I'm assuming Cameron Pacha's theory today? I haven't heard. So if you have, let us know.
Tell us what it is, Steve.
Yeah, tell us what it is.
Wow. Fuck, I don't even know where to start.
Are you talking about the FTX?
He has a pretty interesting theory about, it's on his Patreon where he goes into more detail. He has a theory about why Chapek is out and why Iger is in. He has a whole, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but it's a conspiracy theory that this might be true. That links Disney in with this whole FTX thing.
The crypto thing?
We touched on that this morning, didn't we, Keith? Yeah.
Did that sex tape come out yet? Asking for a friend.
Yes, and I was in it, believe it or not. And also Michael Caine. He's never.
Explains why I fell asleep. All right. No.
Oh, wow. Let's see. We have Magitech Mags. Let's see. Krampus says Star Trek is on HBO Max now. Yeah, they have all of the Star Trek movies covering from the Star Trek crew of Kirk and Spock all the way to the Next Generation films.
Why not Paramount Plus? Why does HBO Max have it?
Because Paramount, like everybody else, needs money. If you're willing to pay for it, you should not say no.
Are they exclusively on HBO Max now?
I don't know. You got to pay for exclusives, but I mean, again, you do whatever you got to do to basically get that money and to get people.
Thank you, Joe.
To watch. It's to me, it's a pretty simple formula. Get that money. Let's see. King Sports Cal wants everyone to know that he hasn't watched Weird yet, but he's heard good things.
Dude, it's so funny. Madonna's the main antagonist, if you can believe it, and the girl that plays Madonna does a great job.
Wow.
Sounds just like her. Like, this is an early 80s version of Madonna. So
it could be her daughter playing the role.
Is that before or after she turned into a Muppet?
We have a breach.
Let's see.
Before.
She looks like Janice from the Muppet.
But no, it's the girl from Westworld.
Oh, really?
She's playing Madonna, but looks and sounds just like her, though, from like circa 84.
Well, looks like Krampus has decided to breach the back door. Backdoor Gary has monkeypox. He will be back soon. Well, we all know what that means.
Wrong. I'm gonna go check the back door. Back door.
Okay. Let's see. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, King Sports Cal says, sorry, I haven't been around in a while. I've been getting, oh, really? Well, congratulations. Congratulations. And I hope that you will do better in the future. Let's see. Let's see. And I think we're all caught up. Oh, does the breach even count when Gary isn't here? You know what, Anima? That's a good question. I have no answer for that. We just go ahead and play the videos. So Let's see.
So I'm sure you guys probably covered it. I'm on the West Coast, so I didn't make this morning's show or even watch it. Is Gary okay? Is there a reason he's not joined?
He's just worn out.
He's
worn out and tired. So he needs to take today off, and so we're gonna give him that day, and we'll take over and try not to burn the whole show down while he's gone.
Fire.
But no, again, this has been probably one of the three biggest stories of the year. What has happened to Bob Chapek, and matched against David Zaslav, because he's his own story, and maybe one other event. I still think David Zaslav is the entertainment story of the year. He has managed to change this industry in just a few months. People who didn't know who he was, people who were laughing at his ideas, now are looking back and thinking, yeah, this guy had some answers. What he's doing with Warner Brothers is pretty much just basic business. Plain and simple. Get rid of the fat, cut people who aren't working, who aren't towing the line. I probably would put I'd probably put the Twitter. Yeah, Elon Musk taking over Twitter would probably be the third big story of the year. But David Zaslav slightly ranks above that because he was doing it first. Sorry. He came in and started swinging that axe.
So Joe might be the only one that gets this reference, but one of the biggest stories of the year I thought was, Vince McMahon stepping down as the chairman and CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, because I never thought that would happen in my lifetime.
It's a huge story inside the wrestling world. Most people outside of it have probably only heard the scandal part of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's scandalous.
It has ripple effects in the industry because everybody's had to step their game up, because a guy named Paul Levesque, better known as Triple H, is now in charge of creative with WWE, and it shows. Their ratings are up. The product is better, and AEW is starting to suffer from it, so they're having to adjust. It's pretty interesting, and I would not. I mean, we don't know what the fallout of this is going to be, other than the fact that he's been, since they're a publicly traded company, he's out as the CEO.
Yeah, he's like completely.
I
think
apparently,
he still owns...
it looks like the investigation showed that he was using company funds to pay these women off.
Yeah,
he was messing with.
Yeah.
It's one thing to use your own money. It's another thing to use
you guys should
funds.
have a show together.
It's starting on the 27th. It's starting on the 27th.
Oh, it's actually starting Sunday?
I was
Sunday the 27th. It's supposed to. I mean, it's
this Sunday.
I was teeing you up, Danny. I was teeing you up so you could promo it.
Thank you. I just don't. Well, I don't want to. I thought I'd have the assets from Gary by now, but he's been busy, so we might have to push it back to the following.
That's
Sunday.
good.
If you would also like to be teed up by Das Wolf, reach out to popcultureminefield@gmail.com as my beer can. That's not a beer can; it's ginger ale falls over. Thank you.
But he showed the. Did you see Gary's draft of the logo, Joe?
Mm-hmm. No.
Oh yeah. Do you want to see it, Joe?
Sure, but I mean, we don't want to get off topic too much here.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But yeah, I'd love to see it. It's promoting Pop Culture Minefield, so that's fine.
Yeah. Pop Culture Minefield, Sundays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, Dork Side of the Ring. And here is, I got to share my screen. Hold up. So
yes, you do.
Here's what.
So Martin can help you out with that.
Here's what Gary's. This is a draft. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the. So he'll make
great.
It look all. Yeah. Once it's finished, it'll look polished like his other logos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited, man. And I've been talking to Johnny Rock, who's going to be our. So I'm the host. Joe's the co-host. Johnny Rock's going to be our permanent panelist. He's also known as the Broad Street Bully from his days as a wrestler.
Look out.
And we're going to be rotating a fourth panelist weekly. So just between, and I haven't even talked to Joe about this, just because between me and Johnny Rock alone, we'd fill up probably a year's worth of rotating guests, because you're only doing one show. But like, we know wrestlers, we know promoters, we know referees.
Yeah, you're in a bigger city than I am, man.
Yeah, so
I know of a couple of guys that are I guess you'd say independent level. The biggest guy I know is a guy that was one of the last holders of the Mid-South tag belts.
Well, see, even somebody
to reinvigorate it in the 90s, but
yeah, no, even somebody like that, because no, it won't necessarily be interview unless it's somebody big, and I don't want to name drop, but you know, I do have something ready in the back pocket for that. But basically, we want people who know about wrestling and are fans to just get a different point of view, because I don't want a show where we're all just agreeing with each other. That's boring. You know,
I agree.
mean? So
yeah, you'll get the old school. Well, you know, if you're doing a wrestling show, you're gonna not everybody's gonna agree on everything at all.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's a very subjective thing for a lot of folks. You know, one person's greatest of all time is going to be Ric Flair. The next guy's going to be Hulk Hogan. It just depends on what they like. You know.
I mean, you said Bret Hart wrong, but that's okay.
Will there be a Mud Wrestling Monday by chance?
Oh, I'd love to see it. I would.
All right.
Myself. Yes.
All right.
Good. I'm big in matter of fact, if I have a section to this show, it's going to be the diva portion. Because I love the ladies, man.
The women, we can't call them divas anymore, bro. They're better than that.
I will always call them divas. I know they're full-fledged superstars, but just saying. But getting back to Mr. Zaslav.
Yes, sorry about the derailment there. But
that's all right. Basically, Retro Nerd Girl. Yep, I am loving what David Zaslav is doing at Warner Brothers Discovery. His take on the streaming just seems like common sense to me. I love streaming, but it's not a viable business model for every studio. That is correct. You don't need to be spending money on that. Let's see.
Well, really, you know, Warner doesn't have to spend money on that. Their library from HBO alone is huge.
Zaslav's been talking about
throw it up there.
Yeah, Zaslav's been talking about starting a separate network to just host all of the stuff that people really like to watch. They have in storage.
You've got the Sopranos. You've
Mm-hmm.
got True Blood. My wife's a huge fan of that.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
just Game of Thrones. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's tons of stuff. Tons
of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, and you know what? Again, we were originally supposed to be talking to Geekosity and Mikey Sutton.
Sorry.
So
I started with the Bob Chapek stuff, so I'm sorry.
That's A-okay.
It's okay. They're not here. They didn't make it today.
No.
It's okay,
They're doing mini golf.
They're teeing it up.
So
have you guys heard of this? Before you get into this, I just one quick random question. My daughter and I watched this movie on HBO Max last night that she had heard about. It was never on my radar. And it was surprisingly moving. It was called The Fallout. Have you guys heard of this?
Mm-mm.
No.
All right. Well, I mean, just look into it.
I've only heard. I don't know what it's about.
So the opening scene is basically from these little high schoolers' point of view of a school shooting. And then the rest of the movie is the fallout from that, like how it affected these different kids' lives. And it was, I'm assuming because my kid, she lives in the era now where they have, you know, drills at school, like when I used to for duck and cover. Now they have like shooting drills. So I'm sure she probably heard of it through that. But it was interesting. It was, you know, it's not really a nerdy thing either. So I was just curious if anybody else had heard of it.
The only Fallout I've heard of is the upcoming Amazon series based on the
video game,
amazing video game.
No, come on.
Series of that, huh?
Well, I think that's why this one was called
The
Fallout.
What could possibly go wrong with that new series?
Right.
Well, unlike that show that we won't name, They actually spent money on costuming.
You mean they didn't have linen armor?
No, it's their power armor looks like it's made out of metal.
Hey.
Oh.
Right
on. Dude, those cosplayers could do stuff better than what was on.
Oh yeah, they use styrofoam and shit.
Good lord.
Right. All right. So
okay.
Sorry
now,
about that. Let's get back to the geekosity.
Yes. So what we have here is a story from Geekosity. Let me just go ahead and share this screen because see, Taika Waititi unlikely to direct next Thor movie.
Thank God.
Well, is he talking about Thor's?
God bless.
Anyway,
Chris Hemsworth's.
Did he direct the last one?
Yeah, he took shots. He wanted to direct.
Yeah. Written by Mikey Sutton. Taika Waititi is unlikely to direct Chris Hemsworth's next Thor film. Sources indicate that Marvel Studios envisions a more serious Thor movie. Without a doubt, Taika Waititi's Thor Ragnarok won over audiences. The 2017 movie earned $854 million global. In fact, Ragnarok became the biggest box office smash in the Thor franchise. Okay, well, it was decent. Anyway, furthermore, critics largely praised its mix of quirky humor and high adventure. Critics reporting to Rotten Tomatoes awarded it with a 93% approval rating. Certainly, Ragnarok's irreverent wit distanced itself from its predecessor. Many hardcore MCU fans consider 2013's Thor: The Dark World among Marvel Studios' weakest entries. Then again, that's judging on a curve. Opinions vary, but Marvel Studios has never released garbage, even in the polarizing Phase 4. That's not exactly true.
Yeah.
It's released plenty of garbage.
I wish
Eternals
Mike was here now. Yeah,
I have a bunch of Eternals that can attest to the contrary.
Yeah.
Eternals definitely, and I know this is not an opinion shared by all, but basically Shang-Chi, in my opinion, and one or two other films. So, Anyway, The Dark World simply wasn't as good as its MCU brethren. Nevertheless, the sibling dynamics between Chris Hemsworth's Thor and Tom Hiddleston's Loki electrified the screen. Still, Marvel Studios opted for a tonal change in Ragnarok. After all, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige prefers to keep the material fresh. As a result, Ragnarok felt innovative, and with its 80s influences. On the other hand, 2022's Thor: Love and Thunder drifted into silliness. That's an understatement. Perhaps too much. Moreover, the jokes didn't land like on Ragnarok. Regardless, the sequel grabbed over $760 million worldwide. Insiders claim that Marvel Studios is focused on playing it straight in the next Thor film. Given that Marvel Studios will apparently switch directors, as of yet, they haven't chosen anyone. There's plenty of time indeed. I'm told Thor 5 is years off. Marvel Studios still wants to introduce Beta Ray Bill in the MCU. Writer-artist Walt Simonson created Beta Ray Bill for Thor number 337 in 1983. Beta Ray Bill is an alien warrior with a horse-like face. He fights Thor for his hammer, Mjolnir. He discovers he's worthy enough to lift it. Let's see.
Walt Simonson is one of the most personable artists you'll ever meet. Too.
That's what I keep hearing.
He sent this teenager a picture of a Battlestar Galactica ship that he drew when he did some work on Battlestar Galactica for Marvel.
Wow!
And
this is ADHD theater. I wanted to say, does he not mention at all the interview that Chris Hemsworth did, where he basically all but said Taika Waititi's name, talking about, I'm not going to work with any more mad genius directors.
Mad genius directors. That was his quote. Yes.
Yeah. And then he goes to defend the only other director he's worked with that could be considered a mad genius that wasn't Taika Waititi.
Well,
so, clearly he was talking about Taika Waititi.
It is time for a change. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. It's time to just change the direction of things, and
I
it's
didn't
hard.
like Ragnarok. I thought the jokes didn't land in that movie. So yeah, Waititi is a talented dude. Don't get me wrong. That one he did, What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
he's done some great stuff.
I
including
like,
some Academy Award nominated stuff. That's really
well,
good.
Taika would be good to use in for one of the really cool but obscure DC properties. You know,
Look,
I
here-
could see him be used for the Metal Men. That would
Taika Waititi is like my second ex-wife. Only good in moderation. You can't have like, just like, he should have
he's
just
good
did
at what he
Ragnarok.
does,
Well, he
but-
should have did.
Yeah.
Just,
But
they
not
should have brought
this.
him back. Ragnarok was fine, but the Love and Thunder was just sad. Like how many times is Thor gonna tell the same damn story? Why hasn't he found himself? He's 1,000+ years old. He starts out as the god of thunder and a badass, and this Taika Waititi guy has basically broken him down to now he's a cuck to some woman who's the king now, and it just I don't know, man. I just I wish they'd have got more serious with the Thor 4.
Yeah,
And
they did.
it might be too little, too
They
late.
made a meme.
Yeah, that whole movie was a meme.
Yeah.
You see. I mean, and God damn it, I hate having to defend Joss Whedon, but he wrote Thor better than anybody else has so far in the MCU.
Yeah. I have to. Yes, I have to agree.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate to have to defend Joss Whedon.
He went from being so like regal and commands respect when he walks in the room, and he's the strongest Avenger, to being a joke.
Yeah.
And
Actually, there are two people that wrote him very well. I think Joss Whedon was one, and the other one was J. Michael Straczynski.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah,
But he
I think
also
that
wrote the comic run too. So sorry.
yes, but the change that Joe was talking about, I reckon that change was due a long time ago. I mean, maybe even before Phase 4, because there were many of the projects that landed in slapstick humor sort of thing, when in fact the MCU began as this serious endeavor. And it's not only with Thor. You could also see it with bits from Doctor Strange. I mean,
Dude,
as soon as they had Guardians of the Galaxy out, they thought that everything could work just like that. And the fact is that not all the characters can do that thing that Guardians of the Galaxy did, and not everyone is as skilled as James Gunn for that sort of humor, in my opinion, of course.
Speaking of, have you guys watched the? I watched it last night with my daughter, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. You guys see that yet?
No.
Dropped at
No.
midnight. Yeah, it just dropped at midnight.
I saw
It's only like 40. It's only like 45 minutes, and it's fun. It's really fun. No Gamora, but and it does have an after credit scene. So.
But that's the
highly
thing that I'm talking about. Like that sort of humor works for them. Maybe they are the right fit for a Christmas special. I don't know how it could be, considering that half of them are aliens that don't even know what the hell Christmas is.
Have you not? You haven't seen the trailer.
No, I haven't
the premise,
watched it.
The premise
No, I haven't
is
either.
okay. Well, the trailer, the premise is Peter Quill's sad, because Gamora's gone, and they want to cheer him up, and it just happens to be around Christmas time on Earth, so the crew decides they're going to surprise him by, and this is all in the trailer, I'm not spoiling anything, basically kidnapping Kevin Bacon and giving him to Peter Quill as a gift. And Kevin Bacon is in it a lot. Like he's in like most of over half of the show.
So we've got another 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon connection. Nice.
Yeah, we do.
As if we don't have enough already.
Just look at this that Krampus Givus is saying.
Wow.
It kind of does, actually. Kind of does.
Oh,
wow.
Well,
Thank you for the Insta Campus and F you.
In talking about how much you seem to love this holiday special, that begs the question as to whether or not, Danny, you had actually had an opportunity to read this.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
Read what?
Oh.
Read what?
Read what?
Oh, sorry.
What are we reading?
My fault here.
What are we reading? Why Marvel Studios avoids hiring writers who love Marvel Comics. Yeah, I saw something about this in another friggin' outlet. Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, this is
because seriously, hiring somebody that loves the product that your IP's based on, that never works out well.
No. New interview with Marvel Studios executive Nate Moore, who is the lead producer behind
why would you do that? Why would you actively avoid? Sorry, I was reading.
Oh, okay. Well, Nate Moore revealed that the MCU teams avoid hiring writers who love Marvel Comics for work on their projects. Marvel Studios and the MCU have enjoyed more than 14 years of success at the box office with filmmakers like Chloe Zhao, who did not love the material. She was not familiar with the material, to Kenneth Branagh, stepping up to take on a Marvel project at one point or another.
Now, Kenneth Branagh loves the product. And
yeah,
if you saw his Academy Award winning, or excuse me, Academy Award nominated Best Picture from last year, the kid is reading a Thor comic book sitting on the street in Ireland. He loves that story.
And that was a semi-autobiographical, right?
Yes,
like
it
he
was.
said in interviews.
I'm sorry, Keith. I just wanted to point that out. Continue.
Oh, okay.
And Chloe Zhao wanted to destroy the Marvel Universe until Kevin Feige went, no.
And the reason why he had to say no was Chloe Zhao was the one who directed Eternals. She thought that the end of Eternals should have that the film should have ended with the birth of the new Celestial
and the death of Earth.
Nice.
Yes. And
thanks a lot, Chloe.
Kevin Feige had to talk her out of it because it's like, I have a Spider-Man movie coming out next.
Well, it could have worked out because it could have been like a multiverse thing. It's just it's Earth,
Yeah, but that kills everybody here. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that and kill everybody here.
Yeah, just make it a different universe. I mean, because they didn't really like Eternals. I could have bought Eternals being its own little, sure they reference other things, but they did that in the Netflix Daredevil series, and apparently that's a different universe. You know what I mean? So
now
there could still be
giant
similar
arm coming out of the planet.
Yeah, which to support my theory even more, nobody's mentioned that since the Eternals, and you think that would come up. You'd think somebody would,
You didn't think a jet would be flying and just noticing an armpit out of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean they've had several things come out since Eternals. Not even one line of dialogue, not even a thing in the background.
It's not even that.
Article.
Think about the space
What's the matter?
pieces that already are involved. They are flying around in orbit, and they don't know who's coming out of the plane.
Here's this part of the story. In an interview on the Ringers, The Town with Matt Belloni podcast, Marvel Studios VP of Production Development Nate Moore revealed that MCU studio avoids writers who love Marvel Comics. After host Matt Belloni asked if there is some sort of boot camp for Marvel directors and writers, or if an innate knowledge of the source material is even a requirement of joining an MCU project, Moore said, "Not really, to be honest." Wow.
Yeah,
that's different than phase 1, 2, and 3, kids.
Yeah.
So now we have
Marvel, which was a bunch of people that enjoy the product and that it is the source material. We're making the films.
Why is it everybody wants to do? It's like The Last Jedi. What does he say? Like
subvert expectations.
Let the past die.
Yeah,
reminds me more of
kill it.
How about Taika Waititi saying, "I'll destroy your myth in five minutes"?
Yeah.
How about that? I mean,
Wow.
These are the guys that got making the films now.
So it says here, Moore noted that writers who already love Marvel are always a red flag for him. On the other side of the equation, Moore looked at Captain America trilogy writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, along with Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi, as examples of creatives that looked at their projects in their own unique way. Okay, that's bullshit Hollywood speak for, well, we just like those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but there's this theory out there. Phase 4 is all about grief.
Losing money?
Well, losing money
same
would
thing.
definitely cause me grief,
Yeah.
And basically every single thing that has come out in Phase 4, that's the theme. And they wanted people who weren't attached to the like they didn't want fans for Phase 4 because they'd be too attached to be able to make the moves necessary to cover the grief, like they did or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. I think this was on like Fat Man Beyond. But what do you guys think of that theory about this whole arc being Phase 4 being about grief, and that's why they didn't want, kind of.
I think Phase 4 is Disney Princess Overdrive. That's what I think Phase 4 is.
I think you're trying to see a pattern where there isn't
Disney
one, except
is
that
in
they're
control,
incompetent.
and they only know how to make Disney princesses. That's it. Everybody else is a joke. They've made the Hulk a joke. They've made the Thor a joke. It's the only reason why I go see these movies now is because my wife is a normie and she's into it.
A normie.
So, I did not want to go see Wakanda Forever. I got drugged to it. Oh my God, it was horrible.
Yeah, Nate's also one of the producers behind Wakanda Forever.
Hmm.
And we can see
that.
why.
That makes sense.
Let's see. Moore said the passion had to at least be a part of an MCU creative because filmmaking is hard and we are hard on filmmakers. More filmmaking is hard and we are hard on filmmakers because we're always trying to make the movie as good as we can. And the filmmakers that are dying to do the movie are the ones who tend to have the stamina to get through kind of the dark night of the soul moment where everything's going wrong or everything's over budget or what we wanted to do isn't working out. And they were always willing to roll with the punches because they wanted to make the movie. So people who aren't already fans of Marvel aren't that either? I mean, what are you getting at here, dude?
Here's the question I've got, Keith. Was this guy involved in the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all?
Actually, I think he was involved in either Phase 2. Yeah, I think he was involved. He came in Phase 2 and has been with them since Phase 3. But this shows that there was already kind of a problem developing because
Wakanda Snorever. That's funny.
That's excellent, Jeebus. Excellent.
Because again, the biggest difference, especially around the time of Phase 1 and 2, is the fact that Kevin Feige was just in charge of Marvel Studios. Remember, when Phase 1 happened, Marvel was divided into 3 different areas. So you had Marvel Studios, and then you had Marvel Television, and then you had Marvel Publishing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin Feige controlled the film division, and then the television division was under the control of
Ike Perlmutter.
No. Well, Ike ultimately, but the person who was actually running, who was Kevin's equivalent on the other side, was oh man, what is the name of that dude? I can see his picture face in my head, but he was somebody who eventually Kevin got rid of. But basically, Kevin went from just controlling film to controlling film, television, animation, and comics. That is Kevin Feige right now. That's what he's running. And we can see that the after effects of taking on all those positions, all those jobs, is basically what we got now. You have people who are taking over for Kevin Feige in other areas, in other projects, because he's so busy. My thing is, if you just took the comics and animation and television away from him and just had him, Jeff Loeb, thank you, Krampus. If you just had him concentrate on film, could we get back to what we were before in phases 1, 2, and 3? There's a chance. I'm not saying that would be an immediate happening, but at least he'd have more time to actually focus, because whether he wants to or not, DC is coming. Whether he's ready or not, DC is coming. And you've got James Gunn, who's serious about making this work. He's got a 3-year contract. He's only got 3 years to make this work. And I'm telling you right now, unless things change dramatically for Disney, as far as Lucasfilm goes, just because KK leaves, that's no indication that the people that Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy actually brought with them, who are now a part of Lucasfilm, have left. So Jon Favreau would be better off just probably accepting that phone call and invitation from James Gunn and going to work for Warner Brothers. Just saying.
I can't tell you really want that to happen, Keith.
Well, I hate seeing someone who enjoys what he does.
I know.
Frustrated because it's a crying. Why? I agree with Jon Favreau. What is going on? Seriously, why you gotta like harsh somebody else's mellow? Why you gotta be like that? You know, this is a guy, Jon Favreau. All he wants to do is make good Star Wars films. How can you really hate the guy for that?
He directed what many people think is the best MCU movie ever, and that's the first one.
Yeah. So
Iron
if
Man.
if you're not going to let him do what he wants to do, and when it became clear, he moved away from the MCU and went straight into directing The Jungle Book and The Lion King, and basically joining Star Wars, only to run into the buzzsaw that is KK. You know, and my thing is, why are you sticking around if it's all is going to be just more headache? You know, so really, he should leave. Okay, what is Ranish? Okay, Snyderverse in tone and style, as well as Snyderverse part of the DCU, will make it work. People are tired of the MCU tone and jokes in comic book movies and want more depth in comic book movies. Look,
I don't think they need to go that dark, though.
The thing is that the Snyderverse will live on in a fashion, but it won't be exactly what Snyder was attempting to do. I think ultimately what they look like they may plan for the DC studio films is kind of like they're going to keep the Snyderverse characters, but try to make them a little more comic book accurate and try to incorporate more characters and really more IP that the previous group of people that were running things never even knew existed. I mean, there's so many characters. Like, for instance, Booster Gold. Booster Gold is a character that obviously at least one person who's lit up right now, big fan of. Well, you won't get him. You wouldn't get him if you had Hamada still there. You wouldn't even come close to even sniffing that character. You know? Legion of Superheroes is another. To me, I mean, if you're going to have the X-Men someday, I'm sorry, I should say the mutants, because, you know, somebody's like offended. Warner Brothers should go ahead and have the Legion of Superheroes match up. And you know what? I think we're all going to have a lot more fun with the Legion than we will with the X-Men if things continue to go this way. So we might even get them earlier because, again, somebody at the MCU is really slow walking introducing the X-Men. I mean, what's taking you so long? Guess what? Boom, here's the X-Men. How hard is that? Really, how hard is that?
They already put the big guy in a movie. They didn't seem to have a problem with pulling the trigger on that or killing him.
But somebody who's sensibilities are easily offended.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure out a better way of introducing these characters, i.e., they're trying to figure out ways of changing the characters a little bit. So we're gonna get some sex changes for a few of these characters, maybe some race changes for a few of these characters. Certain characters not being allowed to show up at all. So
Rajneesh, I'm not saying that they need to copy Marvel. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they don't need to go as dark as Snyder was doing it. I think you can have some. Well, definitely. I know Cavill has mentioned he wants some hope in the show. He wants it a little bit more Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's definitely not the tone of the Superman books at all. What we saw in the Snyderverse so far. So,
Matt Vader, welcome to the show. And the best chocolate to make chocolate milk with, Nestle's. I'm sorry, I'm a Nestle's kid.
Of course.
But chocolate's good no matter what. But if you're really asking me what I would use, Nestle's. So
I just wanted to stick my head in, guys. I got to go get ready for work. But I'm really looking forward to when it comes to Warner and what they're doing. I am putting a lot of faith in Zaslav to do the right things, and I really think this Flash movie is going to be the telling note which direction they're going to go. I think this is the chance to soft reboot it and let's go because let's face it, guys. The more iconic characters are in the DC universe, there's no reason why they shouldn't be kicking the MCU's ass all over the place right now.
You got a point.
Yep.
Can't argue with the man.
Talk to you later, guys. Be good.
Later, Joe.
Joe. Bye,
Joe.
Go.
Bye,
Joe.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's see. Rajneesh says, "Oh, okay." Matt Vader is asking, "Where's Gary?" We sold Gary for a cow and a bunch of magic beans.
The beans turned out to be scripts to Paramount, so we got.
Rajneesh, DCU just needs to be different to MCU. Variety will keep comic book movie genre alive, or it'll die out like the Westerns did in the 50s. You know what? Certain people working over at Disney right now would disagree with you. There are problems with the MCU that they continue to need to change certain things and make certain characters less unfortunate in their opinions. So,
didn't somebody else make this analogy about the MCU and Westerns? I feel like I've heard that before.
Probably.
There's too many that are problematic in the MCU for a certain Victoria Alonso.
Whatever happened, so I was listening when I was, I snuck off for a minute.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking about X-Men or the mutants or whatever. Whatever happened to, mankind, because human in humankind. So mankind was just a shorthand for that. So why does everybody get so hung up on X-Men, especially now when
because it has the word man in it.
Woman could be men,
It has the word men in it. That's why they hate it. Because the fourth wave feminists are not feminists; they're anti-men.
Thanks, Vicky. Thank you a lot. Let's see. Matt Vader. Best part about the old Westerns were the Caucasian Indians.
How?
Yeah, okay. Brett Cohen, you sold Gary. You could have just had him on the street corner working. You'd make more in the long run. Ouch.
He does give a pretty mean reach around.
You know what? I'm just gonna let Anima deal with answering that one, and we will stick to other questions about Zaslav and about Kevin Feige and the MCU and Booster Gold and
See somebody's comment that said Logan Paul should be Booster Gold. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I would like show up and challenge Logan Paul for a fight for that one. And I guarantee I'd win that one. I'd have something at stake.
As someone who is not up to date on the Booster Gold character, could somebody just explain him to a?
Yeah.
To
Okay. Do you remember that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where you have no? You know what? I'm not even going to go back that far. It's pretty simple. A guy from the future decides to use a bunch of technology to come back. He's living in the 30th century.
Oh,
so
are you talking about
He's in the 24th century.
The Max Headroom episode of
24th century? He comes back in time to the 20th century and decides to pass himself off as a hero using his powers to save people and become a member of the Justice League.
He's actually
So it is like that episode of TNG.
He's actually a criminal who got busted. He was a pro football player and he got busted cheating. And part of his community services, he has to work in the old superhero museum, the Justice League Museum. And so he takes like a Legion flight ring. He takes
he steals a bunch of technology.
Yeah, steals a bunch of tech. Jumps in Rip Hunter's time machine and travels back. That's it.
So he's basically a bullshit artist who jumps from time to time, getting into mischief. Okay.
No. He only made one jump. Yep. One jump. He's just living in the 20th century.
Yeah, you just described the plot of Star Trek: The Next Generation episode, A Matter of Time, with Matt Fuller, who played Matt.
Yeah, I was originally going to go there, but I thought it's easier to,
No, because
I mean, if
you
cast and write that right, that could be fun. I would go see that. Sure.
You know what? That would be a really cool Jerry Lewis film back in the day. So I'm just saying, but there are a lot of characters like that DC has, and you don't need to have budgets of 120 million or 200 million to make a lot of this stuff.
No.
A good portion of the DC IP are characters that you could get away making movies with for 65, 50 million, even if you really wanted to get down to it, even $45 million. You wouldn't need to spend that much. The question, just like I said with Black Widow, the question should only cost about as much as the first Bourne film. Black Widow, the movie, should have only cost about as much as the first Bourne movie.
Yeah.
It should not have been more expensive than that. The fact that they spent as much as they did is not only a travesty, it pretty much is a crime. Somebody was attempting to steal money, because that is, when you see, if you know anything about the character, I mean, Black Widow is closer to being a Jason Bourne type character, especially the way they had her in the MCU when they finally gave her movie. You didn't need to make this big grandiose film. You just needed a film where she gets a chance to kick ass and take names. It's like a John Wick film.
Yeah. But
that's exactly what it should have been.
Yeah.
Or Salt. The action movie Salt.
3 days.
What was the we called it on over at Salty Nerd? We called it the Lady John Wick. It had oh god, it was so good actually. It was Vader, if you're in the chat, help me out. What was it?
Atomic Blonde.
No.
Ultraviolet.
No.
Aeon Flux.
No, it had
definitely not.
Bill Cosby.
No, it had the chick that played the Huntress as the main character, and she's like, the whole movie is like she knows she's gonna die. It's got Woody Harrelson.
The Netflix
movie.
Yeah, the Netflix movie.
Kate.
Shit.
Yeah,
Kate.
I haven't seen it yet.
Kate. Yeah. Kate's really good, but no, like that would have been. I would have taken kind of like that approach with the Black Widow.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that movie, Kate. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, gee, see, and that's the thing. If they had just done that, they would not have lost all that money that they did.
And I bet you
That
Kate,
film-
I'm going to look it up. I bet Kate didn't cost that much to make, actually. I'm gonna look it up.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, you again, technically, when you look at what Natasha and Clint did,
Exactly.
their stuff is closer to being like Bourne level stuff. They're not superheroes. They're
sorry, and sorry to interrupt. To go back to that a second, they set it up.
Yeah. Yes.
Budapest. How many fucking times did they bring it up? That needed to be the movie.
Yeah.
Needed to be the movie. That's
like
all
what
you
the hell
had.
happened in Budapest? Like tell me that story or something, you know.
Just do this, 3 Days of the Condor type story.
Yes.
And that's all that you have to do. Exactly. It needed to be like a Bourne film. You go out in the middle of the street and you shoot it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Simple. And everybody would have gone to see it. Everybody would have loved that.
It's part of the reason why I thought that the Hawkeye Disney Plus series was completely off base in certain respects, because it should not have been built around Kate Bishop. It should have been built around Clint, and it should have been about his life in the circus and what he actually went through and how he got the skills that he had, leading up to him eventually joining S.H.I.E.L.D. and becoming an assassin for hire. Well, an assassin, really, which is where the whole Ronin personality comes from when his family disappears. That's all him falling back on his training. He was trained to do what he was doing. And I bet you a lot of the people he ended up killing when he was Ronin were people that were a part of the assassination list that they had for S.H.I.E.L.D. anyway.
I just saw Vader's comment. Vader, you liked Kate, and there's video proof of it. I remember that. review.
But I do have to tell you, going back to that for a minute, is I am looking forward to Ballerina, which is the spin-off John Wick film, which is now going to have Ana de Armas in it.
Yeah.
That's a script that's been floating around on the net for a while.
Wow.
So
I found it. They made Kate for $25 million. That's all.
What?
Yeah.
You're always drunk on the podcast, Vader.
Vader is answering to you.
I saw. He's always drunk on the podcast, so it's fine. It's okay. It's not an excuse. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. Yeah, $25 million budget to make Kate.
See, this is the reason why Kevin Feige just needs to retire. At this point, you are overspending big time.
Yeah.
I mean, you.
I mean, the budget of that movie was RDJ's salary. You know what I mean? Just for the last Marvel movie he was in.
There's a reason why people think these movies are money laundering schemes.
Yeah,
because they are.
Yeah,
they are. There's no.
Not true.
You don't need. You don't.
It's not true. Everyone spends 50 grand for a hammer. Don't you? I go to Home Depot. I get the 50 grand hammer every time.
$800 toilet seat. I mean,
there better be rhinestones on that and an Xbox, for God's sake.
I'm taking care of that, Keith, in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Oh, did we have a bot?
No. How do you say Rajneesh? Rajneesh?
Oh,
I don't know.
No,
they mentioned that earlier. Mikey can't make it.
Mikey's not going to be joining us. Unfortunately, couldn't join us today, and it's kind of a last minute thing. But
yeah, he will be joining us. We're going to try to reschedule his appearance because we definitely miss him. We want to hear what he has to say, and he's definitely always surprising us with new
We're not as cool as Sil. He was on Sil's show yesterday, and yesterday was Thanksgiving, so it's all good.
But no, I mean, my question would be, how much was the box office for Black Widow? I mean, how much did they overspend on that movie?
Did you watch it?
Here we go. I got it. The budget was $200 million
for Black Widow.
For Black Widow,
Jesus, that's crazy.
That's criminal.
Yeah, but how much is that as COVID inflation?
with COVID inflation,
Okay.
that's still way too much money.
And it didn't. Yeah, it was would be considered a failure because its worldwide gross was just shy of 380 million.
Because that's 200 for production, 200 for marketing. At the very least.
So it's lost money.
Yeah, again, that's what I keep saying.
The only movie in Phase 4 that made money besides Spider-Man was Doctor Strange.
Well, you got to understand, Spider-Man was a Sony thing.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
And Marvel's and Multiverse of Madness or Mom was just a mess in a way. It was just all over the place.
That script needed a little more work, my friend.
I still can't understand. I can't understand. You're being chased by demons in the first episode. You can't tell me there's not going to be more demons coming. What does it? They only had paid enough CGI for 2? Sorry, maybe 3.
Damn, Vader! Really? Are you gonna make me pull up the video and share it here? You really want me to do this to you, brother? You know? Okay. Well, right.
$50. It's a Teflon ad.
I just that's just
stuttering.
Wow, $200 million for Black Widow. Really?
This all started with WandaVision. This all started with WandaVision. WandaVision started off and was promoted great. Once it hit the Ralph Boner moment, and you can tell it took a turn because of this time they took off, you knew right then and there that was the ongoing mentality, and it was over. And I was like,
"Oh, wait a minute! So, am I the only one here that liked WandaVision?
I liked WandaVision
probably
until the middle. I spent a lot of time looking for Easter eggs, like
loved
episode trailers at 25 speed.
I loved it. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I unapologetically.
No, don't be sorry. Why?
Oh no, that's right. Yeah,
I liked it. I liked it when they were doing the homages to the classic sitcoms. Once they got off that,
for me it wasn't even that. It was the heart. Like what is grief if not love? Oh gosh, I forget what's the quote. What is grief if not love? What is grief if not love persevering?
Hey,
and I loved that so much, and it made sense. I mean, Jesus, man, that leads us to Wanda breaking Professor X's neck. Like they took the time in that series to show us how she could become so broken. She becomes a supervillain.
But that's just it. When it first started off, it was having high leaning towards a Mephisto, which would make more sense. Like they were actually going to be going down that. That would also make sense with the man thing that we're now seeing. It seemed like they had a lineup, but for some reason it changed and the mentality changed of it. It had setting up, and I'll go back to the whole Funko thing with the New York Comic Con. I believe it was New York. You don't make a Funko Pop for a character that doesn't exist in a show. No. And the Funko Pop release so if you're making a Mephisto character, Mephisto was planned and something happened, either to do with China or other people's religious beliefs or some other kind of change with how the production happened. It was going down a Mephisto road, and it was there. And from what I saw, it would have been that good. And then we just found out it just went to shite. I'm sorry, but WandaVision was a change around, and they messed it up.
Look, what's Joe saying here?
Man,
that is a big problem when you take the villain and you say, "Oh, poor thing, you're justified in torturing a whole city." What the fuck, man?
Hey, man.
Well, but you have a point. The thing is that WandaVision was nothing more than a cleaned up, nicer version of the original script for Suicide Squad and what they ended up doing with the Enchantress.
We could have gone, but Keith, if they ended it with the Mephisto line and it actually had Xavier and Magneto showing up just to comatose goddamn Wanda and take off to Muir Island, and then you can introduce to Muir Island. And what does Muir Island give you an opening to?
Okay. All right, hey man, stop writing better stuff than Disney puts out.
Writing better stuff, Danny. This is where I stopped caring about Marvels when that one.
1,000 monkeys banging on typewriters could put out a better stuff than Marvel's put out lately.
Look, I'll agree with that. I mean, Phase 4 has been mostly terrible. It really has.
Eternals was made for $200 million was the production budget. The film ends up making $402.1 million.
So it cost the same amount as Black Widow.
Yes.
What the hell? Where was the money going to Black Widow? Like I don't like. There was way more going on in. I like Eternals, but there's way more special. It seems like that movie would cost more.
I want to show something like this. Danny, I want to show you like something quickly. When you get a chance. It's okay. You can put it up there. Yeah. This is what I was going through each part of the episodes and breaking down. If you remember WandaVision, if you remember these intros.
Yeah.
Everything I was going through.
It's like the Bewitched inspired one. Yeah.
That was what the brilliance of this show was. It was the ability to look for Easter eggs and hints and nods to everything in the universe that gets up to come. It reignited passion in a lot of people because it felt like they were taking the time and effort to actually respect all the characters based off not only the MCU but also their character backgrounds by giving us this multiverse aspect. And I think they abused it and twisted it into something else. That's what I want to show. Like it was just an example. Like there were people out there that got very infused with this,
like Lost. It was a miniature.
It was a Lost.
Yeah,
it was a Lost, and then it got lost.
Yep.
And I appreciate that.
Wasn't the biggest MCU guy to begin with, but they gotten worse. But at least WandaVision and Eternals was trying to bring in variety and tone.
Eternals was just. I mean, I've said it before. They tried to do too much. They tried to, basically they tried to make a Justice League movie without the previous movie setting up the character. Like you can't just introduce us to like a team of like 9 new characters in one movie.
We have a super chat from Joe.
Yeah, Joe. Let's take it. She held an entire town hostage because her high-priced vibrator broke. He's got a point. He's not wrong.
Here, I'm going to do a Joe impersonation here. Come on, man.
He's not wrong.
That impression was on point.
Thank you.
Let me find some. Oh,
if Eternals. Oh, go ahead and play the video. Sorry.
You pompous, stuck-up, snot-nosed, English, giant, twerp, scumbag, fuckface, dickhead, asshole.
And that's what I picture him talking to the writers of Wanda.
Right. Yep. If Eternals and Black Widow both cost the same amount at $200 million, that means there was some extra fees on Black Widow for the amount of time it was delayed and the amount of delays in the shooting schedule that Eternals didn't really have.
Shooting overseas, I think ultimately that film probably started out at $150 million, and it just cost them an extra 50.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah, the Eternals made more than Black. We have
and Shang-Chi was between 150 to 200 million, and it made 432 million. So let's say if it cost 200 million, and it made 200 million plus 200 and then some in marketing, because sometimes you can spend more. Personally, given how much they did with that marketing, I'm thinking closer to 300 million in marketing.
So Shang-Chi made 432 million worldwide.
Yeah.
And what'd you say?
Keep in mind that they only get like 35% of what they get from overseas.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but like, what'd you say it cost? What was the budget? Because
I'm going with 200 million.
Sorry, that's my parole officer.
Okay. So that's 200 million plus marketing, which while we can go ahead and use 200 million, given how much marketing they had with Shang-Chi, I'm saying it would be closer to 300 million.
I want to look this up because we keep saying 200 and it just blows my mind how so according to Screen Rant, the budget for Shang-Chi was 150 million, one of the lowest in MCU history.
Okay.
And that's because it received a $50 million tax credit from the Australian government.
But so that was after the fact.
That would have been 200 million. So you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 200 million.
That seems to be what they want to spend. It's 200 million every time. That's weird.
Yep.
You know?
And so basically you have a film that's what, 400, it's 400 million. Let's just go ahead and say 400 million. So they made 432. So that means they made 32.2 million profit. Now,
plus another 50 for the tax credit.
the squeeze ain't worth the juice, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Come on.
So now,
I said that backwards, but juice isn't worth the squeeze anyway.
But Eternals then, in comparison, only barely made over 2 million profit. Yet Eternals is also getting a sequel.
Yep.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yep.
Why?
Sequel of what?
I mean, but why? I mean, why?
Because
really? What happened to I thought if the movie did well, it got a sequel, but if it didn't do well, it doesn't get a sequel.
Well, it's fell upwards, right?
Yep.
Because Disney still hasn't realized it doesn't have an unlimited pocketbook.
Yep. So, you know what I did? I went ahead and decided, okay, if we're going to fall down the rabbit hole like that, then let's just go ahead and straight up just go right into it. Because I'm telling you right now, this is not going to work out good for Marvel that they made me do this. $200 million budget for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
So that one was also 200 million?
200 million.
I'm seeing a weird pattern here, guys, aren't you? Come on. These Black Widow had nowhere near the amount of special effects as Multiverse of Madness. How did they cost the same to make? That doesn't track. That doesn't even make sense.
Now, marketing, let's say 200 million. So the box office for that film was $955.7 million. So it didn't quite make it to $1 billion, but it did very well for itself. So Benedict Cumberbatch would be happy to come back. Now, I'm not saying he's out of there after the next movie.
Ooh, but, 955 million. Somebody buzzing?
Yeah, that's
Shaven.
It's not me. I'm not buzzing. Oh, the other Steven. My bad. I got changed my name to Frank.
Because I got a car.
Wasn't me. I was muted.
Wasn't me. My phone's not here.
All right, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
Anymore.
Nobody calls me, so it's not me.
Well, I tried calling 911. Want us to call you, Das Wolfman? Do you want us to give them the phone number to the chat?
No, that's okay.
Are you sure? You'll have a lot of people calling you and texting and other.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's getting close to Christmas. You make the 24 days of what the.
No, that's
okay.
Quite all right.
So, according to Screen Rant, which seems to care about this stuff a lot, Multiverse of Madness had $165 million budget before marketing.
What happened?
That's even less than Black Widow. That Black Widow had to be a lot of bloat from COVID then, because it just doesn't make sense.
That's my point. There's a lot of there's a COVID inflation in there because of them lose. Because when they push a movie back, they still have to pay for the amount of money they borrowed to make that movie. So they're still paying. They have to pay the interest, they have to pay their payments, whatever, however they've got it structured. There's going to be extra money that they have to pay for when it gets pushed back like that. Because they're counting when they make the arrangements for the financing for the movie, they expect the movie to go off at that date. When it doesn't, there's going to be some fees there involved where they have to pay interest or whatever on the loan. So
looking at this right here, I really like Sam Raimi a lot. If you guys, you've seen all my Evil Dead shit I've had in my different setups and stuff, and I used to work with Evil Dead the musical here on the Strip, and I'm just a huge Sam Raimi fan. It breaks my heart. I feel like he's never going to do another one of these again because from what I've read, he basically got the same type of treatment he got with Spider-Man 3, where he didn't get to tell the story he wanted to tell, and he was kind of bait and switched. He was like, yeah, we let you do this. This is why we want you. And they changed so much stuff by the end of the movie. He was just like, it's not really the movie he wanted to make. And it sounds a lot like what happened with Spider-Man 3. So I feel like he's just going to say, fuck doing these anymore. I'll just stick to my low budget horror flicks.
Well, we're at 2 hours and we need, since we're going to KRGA or KG, whatever. since we're going on the radio, we need to start wrapping these up around 2 hours. So
yeah. So you know what? Let's just start thanking everybody. So Krampus, Jeebus, Penny, Baron Ormontag, War Monkey, Dragon Ruse, Stephanie Beatty. Hey, Stephanie. Arwen Avalon. Hey, y'all. Zax, Memes of Destruction.
Live.
Retro Nerd Girl. Don't Call Me Wave, Brightest Day, Shanadsky, King Sports Cow, Mags, T-shirt Historian, and let's see who else.
Don't forget about Matt Vader.
Okay, and Matt Vader 74.
Well, it was
Cohen,
Vader.
Awesome.
Time.
Awesome one. And really to John and Dork
Sharma.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't think it's a budget issue. I know I'm sounding like the artsy douchebag, but the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once succeeded in a multiverse story or multiverse of madness failed. That's true.
Yeah.
Viking. We're still getting stuff. They likely floated all the new COVID production process on top of BW Black Widow to save other budgets. Just a guess. Okay, yeah, there's that. Let's see. Stephen, everybody, thank you for showing up for this episode. This has been TGIF on the Dangerous Nerds Network. I'm Keith, and we will see you later.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Pop Culture Minefield. If you've enjoyed the show, please make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon for updates on our shows and channel. Also, please leave a comment, and we'd like to know what you thought of the episode, as well as letting us know if there's something you'd like us to cover in a future episode. Don't forget that you can become a member of Pop Culture Minefield now. Make sure to visit our membership page and merch store at popcultureminefield.com. You can always find Pop Culture Minefield on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch.